In last week's Parshas Boy, the pasuk says, "V'yoyim harisha mikra kodesh, u'v'yoyim hashvi mikra kodesh yilachem, kol melacha lo yeyase bohem." When the pasuk says there's the Issur Melacha, not only is the Issur Melacha for you to do, but there's also, besides that, there's also an Issur Melacha to be done through you. Rashi brings in the name of Chazal, Lo yeyase bohem afilu al yedei acherim. There's a Issur afilu al yedei acherim. The Rishonim ask on Rashi brings it in the name of Chazal, but the Rishonim ask, what does it mean afilu al yedei acherim? In other words, we understand it's Zichar not coming to say your Issur. That's not what the Torah says. Lo yeyase means somebody else. So who's the acherim? Is the acherim another Yid? So typically it's also for the other Yid anyways to do. Elamai, if it's talking about another Yid, it's anyways also. Elamai, we're talking about a goy. So the shaila is, but by a goy, the Issur by a goy is not a Issur d'oraisa. The Issur Amira Lnochri is not the d'oraisa. As I reflect the Ramban brings on Rashi. I mentioned the previous year briefly. Lagabe v'dabadavar. Have you noticed if it's talking about a Yisrael, heimatzlim uzaram, and if it's talking about somebody else, ta'ainu a goy, v'imachir malol goyim. There is no Issur d'oraisa of telling a goy to do a malacha. There's a din that your behemoth is not allowed to do malacha for you, but there is no Issur d'oraisa for a goy to do malacha for you. So Abazoi, l'chayra, what does it mean? The drasha, what Rashi brings, it seems the drasha that you would be an Issur. V'meila zakter Ramban, that Enechanami would seem that it's a drasha, Eino ela smachta ba'alma. As Dr. Ramban, the Das Kenim says the same also, that the Issur Amira Lnochri is the Issur only midrabanan. The pasuk Lo yeyase bohem, which seems to be talking about goyim, that you can't have goyim doing malacha for you. So that's only a Issur d'Rabbanan. Though you should know that there are Rishonim that learn that the Issur Amira Lnochri is the Issur d'oraisa. The Issur Amira Lnochri is the Issur d'oraisa. The Sefer Mitzvahs Katan, the Beis Yosef brings the Smak, and also the Shitas Yireim. The Rishonim say that it's an Issur d'oraisa, but Lamaisa La'alacha, the Pashas, it's not an Issur d'oraisa, it's only Issur d'Rabbanan. The Sharet Zion and Simon Reish Mem Gimel, Siv Katan Zayin brings La'alacha that the Issur of Amira Lnochri is only Issur d'Rabbanan. These rayas also, we'll see Be'ez Hashem next year, that the Issur of Amira Lnochri has Haterim. B'chlokes where the Haterim are, the raya they bring is Al Korchoch, these Haterim is only Ayos, it's only an Issur d'Rabbanan. So b'makom Issur d'Rabbanan, you can be these what to be makel. If it would be an Issur d'oraisa, there's no real room of kula, of leniency in the Issur of Amira Lnochri. So Mela, very clear, the Issur of Amira Lnochri, which we'll also get to what the Issur of Amira Lnochri is, but the Issur of Amira Lnochri is the Issur d'Rabbanan. What is the reason? Why is Amira Lnochri Asur? Why? So there's three different Rashis in Shas. One Rashi in Shabbos, Tav Kuf Chaf Aleph Amar Aleph, Rashi says that it's Mishum Gzeira. It's a Gzeira. What's the Gzeira? What's the problem? Why can't you tell a guy to do a malacha? So Pashtus, the Pshat in Rashi is what's before in the Rambam. The Rambam in Perek Vav, the Rambam says, Asur loimer legoy laso islanu malacha b'Shabbos. The Issur Amira Lnochri, Zok the Rambam Perek Vav, there's an Issur to tell a guy to do malacha. V'davar zeh asur medivrei sofrim, like we just mentioned a minute ago, that the Issur is only an Issur midrabanan. Why? Zok the Rambam, Kadei shaloi tia Shabbos kala beineim v'yavi lasis ba'atzman. Number one, it'll be a zilzal. You taka can't do malacha, but imagine anytime you need to take care of something, you could tell a guy, there'll be a zilzal. That's one part. V'oid zok the Rambam, you're going to become so used to and into it that you're going to come to do it yourself. So that's reason number one why Amira La'akim is aser, that we should have a chizuk and shmira Shabbos. That's reason number one. Rashi says a lashon gzeira. The Rambam explains what the gzeira is. Reason number two is a Rashi in Avodah Zarah daf tezvav amar aleph. Zot Rashi she'aser liyisrael loimer loy v'kechavim aseli kach. Why not? Why can't you? Zot Rashi, and this is what we mentioned in the previous year. The Issur is the Issur because of mimtzoi cheftzecha v'da b'davar. There's a Issur v'da b'davar, meaning to say is, reason number one, you're not allowed to tell the guy to turn on your light, is because you're going to be mezalzel in the Issurei Shabbos. The second reason in Rashi is, the pashat, you're talking, sefeltem v'daber tachvar, you shouldn't talk about doing malachas. And yet a third reason, what's the third reason in Rashi? This is a Rashi in Shabbos Kufnun Gimel Amar Aleph. Rashi says, Shori le'lemesav Lnochri, v'areyu shluchai l'se'enu b'Shabbos, v'areyu shluchai. In other words, when the guy is going to do a malacha for you, he's doing it b'shlichusach. So maybe it's a shtickle like ilu, you're doing the malacha, maybe it's aser. So we have over here three reasons why Amira La'akim is also. We'll shortly see a nafkamina ladina. Is the reason because it shouldn't be a zilzal for oneself? Reason number two, Dr. Rashi, is because of a daber davar. Reason number three is shlichus. The guy is doing it b'shlichusach, and it's as if like you're doing the malacha. What's the nafkamina between the reasons? What's the nafkamina? Dr. Rabbi Chanan in Kovet Shiurim and also in the Avnei Nezer, they say the following. Could you tell a guy before Shabbos to do the malacha on Shabbos? If the reason is v'daber davar, you're not allowed to talk malacha on Shabbos. If you tell him erev Shabbos, it's not a problem. You can tell the guy erev Shabbos to do the malacha, it's fine. But if the reason is out doing it b'shlichusach, so even if you tell the guy to turn on the light, you tell him erev Shabbos, so he's no v'daber davar, but Lamais he's doing it b'shlichusach on Shabbos, it'll be problematic. The other way around also. If you tell the guy on Shabbos to do a malacha after Shabbos, on Shabbos you tell him, do me a favor, Sunday, please turn on the lights. So mitzad v'daber davar would be aser. Why would it be aser? Because Lamaisa you're telling him on Shabbos to do the malacha. However else the Issur, if the Issur would be not because of davar, because b'shlichus, so the shlichus is only when you do the malacha. So if he does the malacha on Sunday, there will be no Issur. But avada, if you tell the guy on Shabbos to do the malacha on Shabbos, then avada, it's going to be aser for any of the reasons. Now, let's see if the Issur of Amira La'akim is an Issur only by Shabbos, or is it elsewhere as well? We're learning Hilchos Shabbos, and we're going to go through the surah of what is Amira La'akim, but is it an Issur also by other Issurei Torah? Could you tell a guy to do a different Issur, not to do a malacha for you on Shabbos? You see, when you tell the guy to do a malacha for you, it's not an Issur for him. It's an Issur for you that you're telling him to turn the light on for you. So could you tell him to do a different Issur? Any of these Surah Torah? So the Emes says in Hilchas Chalamoid, Siman Tov Kuf Mem Gimel Sif Aleph, Zok the Shulchan Aruch Kol Davar She'aser La'asoisai. This is a very important halacha. We learned it in Hilchas Chalamoid, but it's always kedai to Chazarain. B'chlal Hilchas Chalamoid is super complex. Before you learn it, Hadam Shabura says everything is aser till you learn what's mutter. Al Kolpanim, the Shulchan Aruch says that whatever you're now allowed to do, you're now allowed to tell the guy also. Kol davar she'aser la'asoisai, aser loymar le'einu Yehudi la'asoisai. It's aser. Which l'chayru would be why? Because the Issur Amira La'akim is not only in Hilchos Shabbos. However, the Mishnah Berurah over there explains that the reason why you're not allowed to tell a guy to do something what you're not allowed to do on Chol Hamoed, because the Chachamim were mashve Chol Hamoed like Shabbos and Yom Tov. So Mela, from this din in Shulchan Aruch and Hilchas Chol Hamoed, that you're not allowed to tell a guy to do what you're not allowed to do on Chol Hamoed, is not a raya that the Issur of Amira La'akam is applicable elsewhere other than Hilchas Shabbos, because even Chol Hamoed, like the Mishnah Berurah says, it's included in Hilchas Shabbos. The emes is that it's a Gemara. The Gemara in Bava Metzia. The Gemara in Bava Metzia declares this exact shaila. The Gemara declares, is a yid allowed to tell a guy to plow and be leisach some sharbadisha to cover up that he can't eat? The Gemara declares the shaila. The Gemara in Bava Metzia daf tzadik amar aleph. The Gemara says, "Iboilu ma'u sheyomer Adam Lnochri." Could somebody tell a guy chasoim parasi v'darshpa? So what's the shaila? What's the suffix? What's the shaila? The pashtus, if you say the reason is mishum v'daber davar, like we mentioned before, so v'daber davar is only applicable by Shabbos. The reason not to be mazalzel, l'chayr, would yet be applicable. And the reason of shlichus also would be negeya. The Ma'aseh the Gemara says,
also it's not the same
as what as like by Shabbos.
Shabbos is a thing that I could technically do. It's just Shabbos. There's bigger chance to come to Zilzal to do it on your own. Thing that a Yid would never do on his own.
You're being machalik. You're saying that Shabbos, why is it a Zilzal? Because be'etzim you could do it. You find such a svar in Hilchas Pesach, lagabi person that's not badal minei, it's more zilzal as opposed to lesachsam sharbadisha. You can never do it. So you would never mix up. Here you could do it during the week. Interesting. I hear the svar. I hear. The Gemara says, you know why maybe only Shabbos? Because Shabbos, l'maisa zok the Gemara, Shabbos has more of a chaymer beskila. Masha'enkein, the other Isurim, the only Isuri alive, could be with Chahai Gavna. You do not say that he's an Issur Amira La'akam. Gemara clears the Shaila. Lamaisa in the Gemara Shaila, the Gemara blives with a Shaila, it's a boy delay ifshita. The Gemara is not poshit, it's a boy delay ifshita. So what's Lamaisa? So there's a machlokes rishonim. There's a machlokes rishonim lahalacha. If you say Amira La'akam by other Isurei Torah, machlokes rishonim. The Ravid says no. The Ravid says there is no Issur Amira La'akam by other Isurim. In other words, you could tell a guy to do something that you're not allowed to do. You could tell the guy to cook pasta v'challah. I mean, it's asaba no also, but you could tell the guy. Why? Zok the Ravid, as we just mentioned before, the Issur Amira La'akam is an Issur d'Rabbanon. We saw some Rishonim say that, but the Pashta says the Halacha, the Issur Amira to tell a guy is Issur only mid d'Rabbanon. The suffix d'Rabbanon lekula. So the Mela we don't know. The Gemara Bava Metzia is not machriya. So misafik lekula, and you could tell a guy to do other Isurei Torah. Mi'idach, the Tur brings the Rosh Shitas Rashi that argues not like the Raiva that says that the Isurei to Issur Amira La'akam is applicable all over, not only by Shabbos, but Kol HaTorah Kula. And it's kapaskin like that. This suffix of the Gemara of Leisachsam Shar Badisha, could you tell a guy to go and plow in your field while his mouth is covered that he can't eat, which the Gemara declares as a shaila, la halacha l'mais and hilchas and chosh mishpat, simin shin lamet ches sivav, the Shulchan Aruch says that it's aser. It's aser. So the Shulchan Aruch in Sivav, it's Aser, Zok the Ramah, the Amira Lnochri, Aser b'chol Issurim k'moi b'Shabbos. Mamash this. We'll learn again in the night called Hilchas Shabbos Amira La'akim, Zok the Ramah, that the Issur of Amira La'akim is not only in Hilchas Shabbos, it's in Kol HaTorah Kula. You also find it in Yeridea. Yeridea in Hilchas Klai Behema. There's an Issur D'Oraisa to make Klayim, just like you're not allowed to make Klayim of fruits. Some of these fruits actually may be from Klayim, but you're not allowed to originally make Klayim. There's an Issur D'Oraisa of making Klayim, being Marbia, putting together two animals and make a new breed. There's an Issur D'Oraisa. So what's about? Could you tell a guy to do it? Amira Lnochri, could you tell a guy to be over the Issur? Zok the Shulchan Aruch in Yeridea, Aser li Yisrael litin behemta la'oivik echav l'arbia. And the Ramah again explains, V'chein kol amira la'oivik echav ma'afilu be'Issur lav asura. There's always Amira La'akim, not only by Hilchas Shabbos. So like this we have in Dalet Chelkei Shulchan Aruch, we have in Orach Chaim in Hilchas Shabbos, we have in Choshe Mishpat, L'Sachsim Shar B'Disha, we just saw Yeridea, and in Even Ezer, the Shulchan Aruch in Hilchas Piri V'Ribya, and Even Ezer Siman Hey, Zok the Shulchan Aruch, Aser Loimar L'Kuti, L'Saris Behema Shalanu. There's an Issur to be Masaris, to make that the Behema can have babies, and in male it's also Aser to tell a guy to do it. Interesting, Agav, in Hilchas Ribis, which is also Yeridea, the Shulchan Aruch says that you're not allowed to tell a guy to go borrow from somebody else beribis. You want to go borrow from somebody else beribis. You can't borrow because it's a ribis. You want to ask the guy. The Shulchan Aruch says that it's aser. The Ramah over there argues, and the Ramah says v'yesh makilim. So the Ramah v'yesh makilim from the ein shlichas l'goy. Frekter b'kiveger brings the Shara Melech and the Tevis Goyme, which is the Prima Godim ala Torah. They ask the Shaila. They say v'yesh l'yasha, but they ask, what's the Ramah saying? V'yesh l'hakol. The Issur is Issur, Amira Lnochri. Going back to the Issur of Amira Lnochri, we're speaking. You're right, but what you're doing is.
He could borrow from this.
So I want to tell you something. A guy is allowed to turn on a light on Shabbos also. You're now allowed to tell the guy to do a malacha, something that you're now allowed to do. Even though the guy, not only Rebis, the guy is allowed to do any of these Isurim. Why are you now allowed to do it? Because he's an Issur Amira Lnochri. What you're now allowed to do, you're now allowed to tell the guy to do. So Avada the guy is allowed to borrow beribis or lend beribis. The guy is also allowed to turn on a light on Shabbos also, but still, the Issur Amira Lnochri is, you're now allowed to tell a guy something that you're now allowed to do.
Issur Amira Lnochri, is it even Issur when it has nothing to do with the Eid at all? Let's say Stam, for no reason I would tell a guy to do Issur. With no... Not my personal.
So we're going to go on Be'ez Hashem. You want to know in what way when you tell them to do. We're going to go on Be'ez Hashem in next year in the Prati Dinim and the Tzura of Amira Lnochri, telling what not. That will go on in a few Be'ez Hashem next year. That's more of a detail how it is, what you tell them, what way you could tell them, not what's not included in Amira Lnochri. Tonight's shir is really an overview of the Issur in general. Let's go back for a minute now into the Issur of Amira Lnochri. I purposely wanted to explain that it's negated to all Isurim. Now let's go back to the general Issur of Amira Lnochri. Fregen da'achroinim, the Pnei Yeshua and Chuvas, that's the Pnei Yeshua Lashasa's grandfather. Frek the Pnei Yeshua, why do you have to come on to the Issur of Amira Lnochri? Laman da Amar, there's a machlokes in the Gemara Bab Metzia Daf Yud. If yesh shlichas l'goy l'chumra, do we say that a goy is your shlich al kapanim l'chumra? Which means, if you tell the goy to turn on the light for you, If you say yesh shlichas la'akum l'chomra, what comes out? You told the guy to turn on the light. It's like you turned on the light. So Mele Fregen Achronim, why do you need? Was busy speaking the whole night tonight about the Issur Amira La'akum. Even without the Issur Amira La'akum, L'fi that man the Amar that yesh shlichas la'akum, when you tell the guy to do any of the malachas, say any of the lamatas malachas or any other Issur, yesh shlichas would say is as if the Yid did the Aveira. So there's a list of achroinim that have terutzim. I just want to share one teretz, the Chassam Sofer. The Chassam Sofer says the following, a gavaldige chiddush in Hilchas Shabbos, and he says, when the Torah says you're not allowed to do the lamatas malachas, the Torah doesn't say, it's not because you shouldn't do the lamatas malachas, it's like what the Torah says, laman yanuach. The Torah wants you to rest. Obviously, if you're going to do the lamatas malachas, you're not resting. But the Torah wants you to rest. The Mela, Moiridik, if a guy does a malacha for you, even if with shlichas it's considered as if you did the malacha, but you're still resting, that's why you have to come on to the din of Amira La'akum. What was the kasha? The kasha is, what do you need Amira La'akum? Typically, it's aser without Amira La'akum. Outs the din of shlichas. The Torah says it's fine, even with the din of shlichas. Lamaisa, it doesn't disturb Laman Yanuach. Lamaisa, you didn't do the malacha.
When I turn on the light, I'm also resting.
No, Lamaisa, you're not resting. It's what the Torah is kaveya for us that if you do any of the lamatas malachas, that's lacking in resting. So you're talking right. Today you flick a switch, you can have a whole thing going. That's not.
Guy does the malacha and it's misyachas to me, so I didn't rest because
No. It's misyachas you. Good. You're asking that lamaisa if it's b'shlichot. The shlichus would be is that he's doing it for you. Beseder. If the issur would be to turn on a light, it's like you turned on the light. But in your nuach, in resting, you never turned on the light. You never lifted a finger. You never did a malacha.
Nuach means physical rest, or you have to do the malachas.
The reason why not to do the malachas is that you should rest. If the malachas are done without you doing it, it wouldn't be a problem. So if the guy does it for you, even if it's misyachas to you in din, yes, shlichas, but you never did a physical malacha that it's staring and you're resting. What'd you say? Lamaisa, you're 100% right. That's taka, very good. That's taka, the reason of the Issur of Amira La'akum. The third reason in Rashi is taka shlichas, which l'chayra doesn't stem with this. But taka, you're right, with davar. Good, very good. That's why taka, the Issur of Amira La'akum, why is it aser? Very good, like Rabbi Hill is saying, taka alts v'davar. It's an Issur d'Rabbanan. But Lamaisa, what comes out? All the other Issurim, we just mentioned before that all other Issuri Atayri, you're now to tell a guy, Enechanami, if you hold yesh shlichas la'akum l'chomra, then you're now to tell the guy to do it, not because of Amira La'akum, you're now to tell him about shlichas. By Shabbos, shlichus won't asa, because like what the Chassam Sofer says, the lamaisa you're resting. But all other malachas would be asa to tell the guy, taka without. Laman da'amar the Gemara b'Metzia, yes shlichus l'chomra, it would be asa to tell the guy, even without the din of Amira La'akum. Shkoyach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'akol niyeh b'dvorei. One more nekuda. Shkoyach. One more nekuda. And with this I'm going to conclude. Is there an Issur Amira La'akum by a Issur d'Rabbanan? We just said like this. The Issur Amira La'akum, we began the shir very clearly. The Pashtus and Roiv Rishonim is only a Issur d'Rabbanan. We saw many reasons. We also saw that the Issur of Amira La'akum is not only in Hilchas Shabbos, it's negei in Kol HaTorah Kula. We went through an example from each of Dalet Chalkei Shulchan Aruch. What's about an Issur D'Rabbanan? Could you tell a guy to do an Issur D'Rabbanan? So Lamais is like this. Avada, good, you're right. I actually prepared, and it's Lamaisa more than a whole shir, all the protei dinim in Amira Lnochri, the Ilam saw it, but just to be mesakim it and put it together, Avada, these heterim, and these different ifanim of heterim, shvus to shvus b'maka mitzvah. Is there an Issur to tell a guy to do a malacha, the Rabbana b'shar, you're right, I wasn't clear. B'Shabbos Avada, it's clear like that. Because some shitas, the heter is only by the Rabbana b'maka mitzvah, on them, very good Avada. What's about all the other Issuri Torah which we saw as also? What's about Issuri the Rabbanon? Good, you pointed out well. Is it mutter to tell a guy to do an Issur the Rabbanon? So the Shach in Yeridei and Hilchas Avelis, the Shach says clearly, and the emes is, it seems to be a Mefurish Ramah. In Hilchas Avelis, he's a Issur, Avelis, but the Rabbanon, he's a Issur to take a haircut. So the Shach says in Siman Shin Sadik Sif Katan Dalid that the Issur Giluach is a Issur. You take a look, it's an Issur even to tell a guy to give the person the avala haircut. And the emes is Pashas. It's even a Mefurish Ramah. In Siman Shin Pei and Avelis Sif Hey, the Ramah says in the Halacha that an aval is now allowed to do malacha and Avelis. Zok the Ramah, and what did you now allowed to tell the guy? So that's more the Pashtus. Me'idach and Gilyon Marsha is medayik from the Taz over there, that the Taz would seem to say that by Issur D'Rabbanan you are allowed to tell the guy. So if we're not talking about Shabbos, but Shari Surim, which is also, there is an Issur D'Rabbanan of Amira Lnochri. However, to tell a guy to do an Issur D'Rabbanan, that seems to be a machlokes achronim.